Salam əziz izləyicilər, bugün heyrətamiz qadın Maxwell bizim kanalımızın qonağıdır. Angela buraya, Bakıya, Qazaxıstan sahillərindən Xəzər dənizi boyunca üzərək gəlib. Onun bu səyahəti 31 gün davam edib. Angela həm də 16 ölkəni piyada gəzən səyyah kimi də tanınır. Gəlin onun bu maraqlı təcrübəsi ilə birlikdə tanış olaq. Hello, Angela. First of all, we would like to congratulate you on successfully finishing your journey, and we would also like to express our admiration for your ship. So, you have been in Baku for a few days now, and how do you feel here, and what impressions has Baku left on you?
Well, I have to say, I've been here for a few days. My friend who also swam with me, we lived here for a couple of months while trying to make this project happen. I've been able to immerse in the culture and the food, but I think what's made the biggest impression on me and the biggest impact are the people. In particular, just being welcomed into people's homes. And this project to swim across the Caspian could not have happened without the amazing help of local people coming together, believing in me, as well as my friend Karl and the two young Azerbaijan swimmers that did this with us. So I think I'm just touched by being so welcomed and so supported at doing something that is quite crazy.
Thank you really much for sharing your impressions with us. So I would like to focus on your walking journey. So over 6.5 years, you have traveled to more than 16 countries, and you also have experience trying to live on $5 a day, and you have also slept in tents. So what did you learn from this experience, and how did it make you feel?
Well, I think it's important first to say, I was excited and terrified to do this. So being a woman walking alone across 4 continents, I had never slept alone in a tent. I didn't even know how to start a campfire on my own, but it's something that I wanted to learn. It was something I knew that although it was a crazy idea, I knew it was something that I had to try. Crossing 16 countries and then swimming the Caspian, just being able to allow myself to try it, even if I failed, was one of the greatest things I've learned, which is you fail, or let me say this way, failure is a myth. In the sense that if you try something and you do it with your heart, even if you don't get to the finish line, like the success line, you still succeeded at trying something that most people don't even attempt. Whether I wanted to walk 4 continents and I only walked 2, or I started for 2 weeks and got terrified and went home, it was still that I was following my heart and believing in myself and my own abilities to do something grand, to do something that I was called to do. And that's kind of what I aim to instill in, young girls and women in particular. Not that I advise them to go out and walk the world alone. When they feel called to do something, they're going to feel afraid. And they're going to feel like maybe they're not enough or strong enough to do it. And that's usually 99% of the time not true. But it takes the encouragement and the support within ourselves and hopefully within our community to do those things. So I've learned a lot about myself, of what I'm capable of, so that after a 6.5-year world walk, I could attempt to swim across the Caspian.
Let's talk a little bit about your swimming experience. So you're primarily a traveler who explores the world on foot, right? Yeah. And you're not a professional swimmer. What made you decide to walk across the Caspian Sea, and what was your main motivation throughout those rough and stormy days?
Oh, great question. So after I finished my own walk, I did most all of it alone. I had my mom come join me and a friend here and there, but I was usually alone. And after I finished the walk, my friend Karl, who is still walking around the world himself, was going to walk through some places I hadn't walked, which was Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan. So I thought, I want to get back on the road. And I thought, what a better way to actually join someone and be with someone kind of as a team. So we had walked Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan. Neither of us could get into Russia or Iran, and just for geopolitical reasons. We couldn't walk through. And so we jokingly said, we're going to swim across the Caspian. It's only so big. And it was kind of a joke at first, and then it really became the only way we could cross it. And my friend Carl has to do everything on foot or without transportation. And I just thought this was a great opportunity to challenge myself, learn how to be a better swimmer, and just see if it was possible. Even if, again, if I failed, a week in, it wouldn't be failure. It's just that I tried and I just wasn't able to for whatever reason. But I will say about the swim, not being a swimmer, not only not a professional swimmer, I don't swim for sport. I don't swim for fun. I don't like open water. I have an anxiety and a low level kind of fear of dark, deep, open water.
I feel you.
And a lot of people feel this way about open water. So it was kind of a way that I could face some fears and challenge myself to do something more mentally than physically. Because, being at sea for, 31 days and swimming, I think it was 26 or 27 days, it was a challenge to get up knowing I've got to swim 6 hours and what to do with the mind and how to focus and keep going. And I will say this, I think what helped me to keep going was I was doing it with 3 other people, and we were all committed towards the same goal. And that was to swim from Kazakhstan to Baku. And in the toughest of times, we supported each other. You got this, just keep going one more day, and that really makes a difference to feel supported.
So, and it was a sudden decision, right?
No, I mean, when I decided to join Karl to walk, I put a good amount, several months of thought into it to prepare. But the swim, we had 2 years. So we were training in Mexico. We were training in swimming. We came here to Baku and we went to the Suidlani, kind of little Olympic center with the pools, and we practiced there. So it's something we've been working on for 2 years. And it was really through people here in Baku, including Baku City Circuit, that made this take place, made this possible to do, because we needed boat support and food and rest and all those things that go into a big project.
In one of the videos in your channel, you mentioned that women mostly supported you when they found about your experience, while men thought you had lost your mind. So why do you think men have harder time understanding such experiences? And also, can you also tell us more about some funny reactions or the stories you have encountered along the way?
Yeah, sure. I think what comes to mind in terms of why women were supportive, I would say they would see parts of themselves in what I was doing. And I think that because it was so on the edge of me not being experienced either, doing something I had never experienced before, walking around the world and then swimming, it was this ability for them to want to support because they see themselves, wanting to do something also that is big in their calling, big in their heart, but it's risky, it's scary, and I think the support came from them wanting to also be a part of the journey to help along the way. Now, when I think about why some of the men thought I lost my mind, I had a lot of supportive men that were friends in my life, but I think it's harder for a man to understand what it would be like to be a woman walking alone. And a lot of women know, they know what that would feel like if they themselves went to do it. Might be crazy, but this is amazing because it's so scary. And I think a lot of men would think that it's so crazy, you shouldn't do it. Out of almost protection, not even judgment, but more like them wanting to say, I don't want you to go do something and get hurt, right? I'd hate for you to have a bad experience. But bad things can happen. There are a lot of things to be scared of in the world, but the courage comes from knowing they're there, right? The awareness of it, but saying that won't stop me, and I'll do everything I can to prepare myself or to be ready for things, because the world is a big, scary place sometimes, and it's also a phenomenal, magical place with people wanting to support along the way with anything that we want to do. Oh, and you asked about a story. I will say the story that comes to mind is my mother. So my mother was 70 years old when I told her I was going to go walk around the world. And we were on the phone and she said to me, Angela, I am on my knees begging you not to go because I don't want anything bad to happen to you. But she was in tears, just absolutely like, this is the worst idea. I'm so worried for you. Well, 2 years into my walk, my mom realized that I was doing fine. I knew what I was doing. And she came over and she got a bike and she crossed parts of Europe and the United States with me and her little chihuahua. So it went from her being terrified, as most mothers would be if their daughter said they're going to go out in the world alone in a very vulnerable position, sleeping on the side of the road in a tent, living on $5 a day. Eventually, she came to feel confident and quite proud that then she ended up going on some of the greatest adventures of her life with me, and we got to bond together on the road.
That's so impressive.
Yeah. She's impressive too. Yeah.
You as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your stories with us. And the next question is that, do you have any other future plans, or do you think that what you have achieved until today is enough?
Well, I would say what I've achieved is definitely enough. Not that I won't go and do something else, because I never planned on doing anything swimming based. I feel like all I really want is to continue to follow my heart where I feel called to go, and hope that I can continue to meet that challenge and meet that calling in a way that's fulfilling to me.
Great. Thank you so much. So, our cameraman.
I'm assuming it's okay.
Yeah.
We're rolling.
Where is he?
All is good. Who needs a camera person when the camera's rolling? We're good, right?
Yes, I think yes, of course. Where is he? Okay, so we can. As is known, Azerbaijan is primarily a conservative country, and women here need to have a permission, not for only traveling across the world, but even going out when it's dark outside. And society do not really believe that women are strong and independent enough. Consequently, this belief discourages women. So what would you like to say to women who deep down want to see the world but are forced to step back because of their fears?
You know, I experienced the inability for a woman to travel without permission when Anastasiya, who's here, an Azerbaijan citizen, we needed to get permission for her to travel with me. I think that in general, we have so many things that can hold us back. So there is our fear, right? There can be a governmental structure, right? So you can be oppressed and feel oppressed in a country. And I know I'm very privileged in terms of where I come from in the States and the support of family and friends. So no matter what the construct of where you're living, the rules that are put upon us, one of the greatest things I think is having something like Femtopia, or having the people around you, especially other women, that are encouraging you to speak up, that are encouraging your voice to be heard, that we know that we're worthy of sharing our opinions, that we're worthy of having a voice in the world. And so that's why, you know, even when I was walking and I faced some of the most challenging situations in my whole life, and I was just terrified, I started thinking about other women's stories. And maybe I never even met the women, but it felt like they were part of my inner circle. I'd read and I'd listened and I stored them. And it's like I gathered them up for myself so that in really difficult times I was afraid, or I felt oppressed about something, you know, about my own opinions or speaking up or sharing my story. I would be reminded by their stories, and they had this courage, and it would encourage me to keep moving forward and to speak up. If it is even advice or just more insight, it's about gathering people, you know, whether it's women, you know, or men too in our lives that are going to support us to really value ourselves and value our voices. And that can lead to taking the action that you want to take that is in integrity with what you believe in.
Thank you so much, Angela, for being our guest for today. And we wish you great success in all of your future plans. And we will follow you both on your website and your YouTube channel.
Thank you. Çox sağ ol.
Əziz izləyicilər, Angelanın səyahətləri və təcrübələri haqqında daha ətraflı öyrənmək istəyirsinizsə, videonun açıqlama qismindəki linklərə keçid edə bilərsiniz. Kanalımızdakı yeni videolardan xəbərdar olmaq üçün abunə olmağı unutmayın. Hələlik!